Hello students, welcome back once again to the new chapter, that is chapter number 18, They Live in Water. Okay children, the chapter is going to be very interesting for you. So before moving on to the chapter, let me remind you something which you have experienced. So in holidays, you must be going to the picnic spots near some lakes, rivers, and to visit. Yes or no, children? So there you must have seen some animals and plants living inside the water. Yes, I think most of the students have experienced boating in the lake. Yes or no? In our places also here, some boating facility is there in the small lakes. And while boating, you will feel that some plants and animals live in water, inside the water. So in this chapter, here we are going to read about some plants and animals that live in water. Aquatic plants. Starting with aquatic plants, aqua means water. So here you are going to read about the plants that live and survive in water. So some plants may be inside the water and some plants may float outside the water, or some may live nearby the water bodies. So in details we are going to read. Let's start with the types of aquatic plants. Starting with the first type of aquatic plant, that is free-floating plants. What are free-floating plants? Free-floating plants are the plants that float above the water. Their roots are not fixed to the water bed. They usually float above the water. Their plant parts are usually spongy type structure and very light. That's why they float above the water. They absorb nutrients from the water directly. In some cases, you can say that they provide shade to the animals present inside the water. Yes, children? So, let us see some examples which plants are said as free-floating plants. Duckweed, water hyacinth, water lettuce. The next type of plant is rooted floating plant. So the rooted floating plant means the plants whose roots are fixed to the waterbed, but the flower and the leaf float above the water. Their stems are usually hollow from inside. So the leaves and the flower usually float above the water, but the root is fixed to the waterbed. So here are some examples of rooted floating plants. Lotus, water lily. So the next type of aquatic plant is submerged plants. Submerged plants means the plants that totally grow under water. Their roots are fixed to the waterbed. As they totally grow underwater, they use the carbon dioxide released by the aquatic animals. That means the animals that are present inside the water for the process of their photosynthesis. The leaves are usually long and narrow. So, here are some examples of submerged plants. Hydrilla, tape grass. So our next type of aquatic plant is emergent plants. These plants grow in wetlands where the water is not too deep. We can say near the water bodies or near the shore of water bodies. Usually the leaves are very narrow and long. The lower part of the plant is usually submerged underwater. It is not seen outside the water. Outside the water, only the leaves are seen. So being light in weight,
they are usually moved away, or you usually bend to the heavy rain or high water current or high speed of wind. So here are some examples of emergent plants.
Bulrush, arum lily. So our next topic is aquatic animals. Aquatic animals means the animals that live inside the water throughout their life. In some cases, some animals are there who also live in water as well as land. For example, turtle, seal, walrus and sea lion. They partially live in land as well as in water. Those animals are called semi-aquatic animals. But some animals are there like fish, octopus, seahorse. They totally live underwater throughout their life. So here we are going to read about all the animals that live in and around water. Different kinds of aquatic animals are found in water. For example, some animals may be inside the water at the bottom of the water body. We can see at the water bed. Some live under some height. Some live around the water body. So different aquatic animals are seen near the water bodies. For example, insects like dragonfly and skater, they are found near the surface of the water. But lobster, starfish, oyster, they are usually found at the bottom of the water body, or you can say at the water bed. Aquatic animals usually have some special features in them. These special features help them to breathe, to move and obtain food in the water. So let us learn about the special features of the aquatic animals which help them to survive in water. Aquatic animals like fish, they have streamlined body. Usually they have streamlined body and tapers and the end, and their middle part is very broad and flat. So it helps them to swim very easily, and they have gills which helps them to breathe inside the water. Turtles, crabs. Aquatic animals like turtle, crabs, lobsters, these are called shield aquatic animals. They have a shield-like structure above them. So they have flippers like paddle like structure as a leg, which help them to push back the water while swimming in the water. Lobsters swim by curling and uncurling their abdomen.
Ducks, herons,
Aquatic birds like ducks and herons. As you have already seen in the picture, they have waterproof feathers. Waterproof feather means the feathers where the water doesn't remain constantly. If water falls on them, it slides away easily. So it helps them to keep their body warm during winter or in cold water. They have wave-like structured feet which help them to swim in water. They have long neck and leg which helps them to keep their body above the water. You can also say that this long neck helps them to bring the food from the water. You must have seen the herons. They are bending down their neck in the water bodies and catching small fishes as their food. So they helps in getting the food from the water. Whales, dolphins. So here we saw the picture of whales and dolphins. These are the aquatic mammals. So they have a streamlined body and fins to swim in the water. We can also say that they breathe with the help of their lungs. As we have already learned, the fishes, they breathe with the help of gills, but these aquatic mammals, they breathe with the help of lungs. You can see that they usually come to the surface of the water. Dolphins jumping over the water, we have already seen in some water bodies. So they usually come to the water surface to breathe in air. Just to breathe in air, they come to the water surface. Frog, toads. You saw the picture of frog and toad. These are the aquatic amphibians. They live in water and they move in water with their webbed feet. So they breathe with the help of a slimy skin. The skin is very slimy through which they respire, or we can say they breathe out. Next we are going to read about mosquitoes. So now we are going to learn about the mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are the parasitic insects. They don't live in water, but they lay eggs in water only. So they feed on the blood of human beings and animals. What happens? They lay eggs in the stagnant water. Stagnant water means constant water, or in slow moving water. So here is a mosquito life cycle. You can see the picture that a female mosquito first lay eggs at the stagnant water. What happens? These eggs hatch into larvae. You can see after egg the next step is larva. Within a week, the larvae develop into pupa, which in turn develop into an adult mosquito. So this process is a continuous process. Then this adult mosquito gives eggs in stagnant water. Again these eggs will within a week converts into larva, and this larva will again convert into pupa, resulting leading to an adult mosquito. So here we read about the life cycle of a mosquito. How the eggs leads to formation of an adult mosquito. Next we will learn what are the diseases caused by biting of mosquito. As we know that by biting of mosquito, persons or people suffer from various diseases like malaria, dengue, yellow fever. So here we are going to read about the very important disease which is really we should know about that disease which is usually we have seen people suffering various times, that is malaria. So how malaria is caused? It is caused by biting of an infected Anopheles mosquito. Yes children, it caused to a normal person by the bite of an infected Anopheles mosquito. It sucks the parasite along with the blood. When the infected mosquito bites a healthy person, the parasite is injected into his blood, the person's blood, causing malaria. So how we will know that a person is suffering from malaria? So there must be some symptoms which will show us how malaria is caused. We have to see some symptoms. What are the symptoms from which we can know that malaria is caused? Yes. So the symptoms are high fever, severe headache, and shivering. Shivering means we will feel a lot of cold, and we always want to remain inside a blanket. Okay, so the person suffering from malaria can also feel headache, also severe headache also. The person will feel very tired. The joints, hands joints, leg joints will pain. It will cause also vomiting, a lot of tiredness. So the presence of malaria can be easily detected through a blood test. So it is advised by the doctors that whenever you feel the symptoms, kindly have a blood test to confirm whether the malaria is there in your body or not.
So the next topic is prevention of malaria. What are the steps we should take to prevent, or we can say what are the steps we should take so that we will not suffer from malaria. Okay, as per the book, some points are given in the book. You can see that the first point is, do not let water stagnate in or around your house. So you must have seen some water puddles or some holes near your houses where water remains for a longer time. It usually happens during the rainy season. So don't let that water remain for a longer time, because in that stagnant water means constant water, malaria or the Anopheles mosquito lay eggs, causing malaria to the people living nearby. Always use covered dustbins or dispose garbage. Covered dustbins means your dustbin should be covered always. Otherwise, the mosquitoes sitting in the garbage, they will always come and sit over our food, causing the various kinds of diseases. Next is, change the water of the water coolers regularly. So we usually put water in the water coolers during the summers, but we have to change the water regularly. If we cannot change the water, what we have to do? We have to put some kerosene oil in the tank of the cooler. Oil being light floats on the water, evaporates, and the Anopheles mosquitoes cannot lay eggs over the oil. Next is, spray DDT around the areas where mosquitoes may breed. So if you find some areas where mosquitoes usually
Or they lay eggs, DDT is a medicine type liquid which we have to spray in the surface of the places. This will avoid mosquitoes laying eggs. Put wear mess on windows and doors to prevent mosquitoes from entering the house. Wear mess means the nets. We can put nets in the doors and windows so that it will prevent the mosquitoes entering into our rooms. Next is, use mosquito repellents and coils in the room at night. So at night we can use mosquito coils, or we can use some spray or some odomos like creams, so that this will avoid mosquitoes entering into our room and sitting over our body. Next is, use mosquito nets to cover the beds. So to cover the beds also we need to have some net like structure. This will help us to avoid the mosquitoes biting us. So this is all about your chapter number 18, all about the aquatic animals and plants. I hope you must have all understood the chapter very well. Keep reading, keep studying well. Thank you.